Good morning, everyone. My name is Margot, and I'm going to take you back to 1986 when my mum was a Year 12 at PC. First of all, we wouldn't be sitting in this theatre right now. We would be in the St Michael's Hall, which is now where the art department stands. They had two school hats, the white summer hat and a winter beret, which I hear was used as a frisbee by the annoying Trinity boys on the bus. Nothing's changed there. Although they didn't have PLDs to do their schoolwork on, they did learn to type on manual typewriters. The camps back then were nowhere near as torturous as our camps, and apparently St Michael's Day was a picnic with games. Flash forward 30 years, and what hasn't changed is the spirit and atmosphere at PC. The values and morals held by the school have stayed the same, and that's what makes PC so special. I would now like to introduce Judith Allen and Colleen Johnson, both old girls with 4 generations of girls at PC. Judith attended Perth College from 1958 to 1960. After leaving PC, she worked on St George's Terrace for 8 years before marrying in 1968. She and her husband then developed a new land farm in Dandaragan, as well as a contract rehabilitation business in an adjacent mine, all while raising a family. Throughout her life, Judith has served on many committees throughout the region, most of which have been associated with sport. Judith is still a very active bowls player, and we are very thankful she has managed to somehow juggle it all to fit in coming down to Perth to speak to us today. Judith's daughter Colleen is another PC old girl. She boarded at PC from 1984 to 1988 and was head sacristan in her final year. Upon leaving PC, she completed a Bachelor of Arts in Education, but then graduated to go to the mines and drive dump trucks. Colleen then travelled overseas, worked as a primary school teacher, and married a local farmer in Dandaragan. She has 2 daughters, both of whom are PC girls. Daughter Emily was head boarder in 2013, and Amber is currently in Year 12 and serves on the boarding exec. Like her mum, Colleen is actively involved in the Dandaragan community, serving on committees, running the farm, and somehow squeezing in teaching and supervising uni students on their pracs. We are proud to welcome Colleen and Judith to talk about their time at PC, and not only what has changed, but also what has stayed the same. Can we please make them feel welcome?
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I just sang a very few words of Perth College in the era of the Sisters of the Church, and in a few words, the impact it has had on my life. The sisters instilled a strict code of discipline, but I believe it was that discipline that built self-worth and inner strength. It all started with the uniform, a code that was rigidly imposed, a hat and gloves in summer and a beret and gloves in winter. Being a day student, I had to catch a tram and bus home to Floreat. As soon as we got on the tram on a hot day, the hat and gloves would come off. But then 2 or 3 stops down Beaufort Street, Sister Shirley would appear out of nowhere on the tram, and we were instantly convinced it wasn't such a good idea. Jenny, obviously the uniform discipline still prevails, as I have noticed how well presented the girls are and the pride they exude wearing their uniform, and it's so evident here today. Sister Shirley had that amazing capacity to walk into a room and without saying a word command complete silence. Art was one of my lighter subjects, and I will never forget a portrait session with Robert Juniper in the art studio, which was on the third floor, which was resulting in a few laughs around the room. Sister Shirley appeared at the door, and to this day, whether you were facing the door or not, I can still feel the presence and recall the total silence. There was no domestic science offered as a subject in my time at Perth College, as we were encouraged to follow a professional career. I never questioned the decision by my father to send me to business college and enjoyed my career life. But I was called into Sister Shirley's office to inquire why I wasn't going to university. and to follow on with chemistry and physics, which I did enjoy. I have never regretted my career and have used the concepts of physics and chemistry to this day. What I am trying to say, that the encouragement of the sisters in Perth College and what they instilled in me and inner strength over the years to tackle most things, and that has been the case. I promise you that I soon learnt to cook once I went to Dandaragan. I have watched my daughter and granddaughters grow through the same process of building self-esteem at Perth College, and although the boarding house and school portray a very welcoming feel through all the wonderful renovation installation of facilities as opposed to the Spartan linoleum with a statue in the front lobby, those same values still come through. Well done, Perth College.
My experience with Perth College began in 1994 when I climbed the old wooden staircase in the front foyer in the office and walked to my dorm full of strangers. The matrons or the housies, ruled with varying degrees of strictness. Nana Mary was a softie and could be gently worked upon. Mrs. Brain tiptoed through the hallways at night and went to great lengths to catch those naughty villains lurking around. I remember her removing her shoes at the dorm entry to gain a super stealthy lap of the corridor. That move wasn't quite executed on one night, as one of the more courageous girls in the dorm decided to hide her shoe so that when she came back they weren't there. I don't remember the outcome actually, so obviously it wasn't too detrimental. In year 8, I shared a 10-bed dorm, and every year after that we returned to school with anticipation of where our room was and who would be near. We gradually went from dorm-style living to sharing rooms to single rooms. We also got unlimited supplies of Milo and toast with peanut paste just for being in year 12. Moving up through the ranks was a privilege. As a mother of boarding students, the obvious changes have been the move from the dorm-style living, which was pretty cold, to the PC Hilton. The orientation process and chance to become familiar has already come ahead in leaps and bounds. I spent many quiet weekends swinging from the curtains while I was at boarding school. Now there are so many outings and opportunities to be involved. Through both my experience and that of my daughters, I feel the school has created a confident woman with common sense, and Miss Nick, yes, there was always common sense in her words. School life was great. Many of my teachers had an influence on how I do things now. I cannot watch a movie without dissecting it Mrs. Drake's style. I get very excited about Russian history, thanks to Mrs. Christo's passion and delivery. I also enjoy cooking and wash my hands well, thanks to Mrs. Barsley and her hygiene. The prep sessions in the library were good. They taught us to work effectively, and I also learned to put my finger on my belly button when an ambulance went by. I don't know if people still do that, but that was some sort of good hope. I washed the family's dirty laundry with love because Affie did, and I'll always know that women wolf whistling in public is very uncool, thanks to Mrs. Cottier. It was while I was travelling this road that I learnt to maintain my own beliefs, even if it meant taking the road less travelled. My experience in year 12, delivering the welcome speech to the Archbishop of Canterbury in particular, working alongside Judith Cottier and Kay Goldsworthy, conditioned me to man up and embrace opportunity. I am eternally grateful to Perth College. It was, and it is, a great platform to grow. It's a chance to be daring, whilst remembering to tread with caution. It is a heritage I hold with pride. Girls, go forth and seize the day, but keep your head about you. Thank you.
On behalf of the PC community, we'd like to thank you, Judith and Colleen, for coming down and taking your time to talk to us. I know all the girls really appreciate all the stories you've told, so we've got a small gift of thanks for you.